Hi, everyone. Welcome to the December 2022 koha-US Cataloging Special Interest Group. This month, I have a couple of things I wanted to point out. I'm putting a link to the main Koha community website in the chat. And I'm encouraging everyone to go there and scroll down to the latest newsletter, which has links to the latest releases of Koha and the release notes, and really take a look at the latest releases. There are a lot of really cool things for cataloging coming, and they're just too many to point out. I mean, these new releases are really exciting. And I'm also putting a link to a bug number 32325, filed by Andrew, First Henry. A lot of us know Andrew, and it is a detailed bug having to do with 006 fields and 008 fields. So I'm encouraging everybody who'd like to think about some fixed fields and format matting to go take a look and put your thinking cap on. And yeah, let's comment on that one. So does anybody have anything they'd like to bring to the group this month?
Sort of.
Go for it.
Okay, I have been. Oh, and this is just a comment, not a question, because I don't have my thoughts collected enough to form a question on it. As part of one of our subscriptions, actually two of them, Access Medicine and Access Surgery, we're getting a whole lot of videos, which I belatedly realized they're not really, they shouldn't be cataloged with the item type ebook. They should have their own called video. But they come from OCLC, World Share, I think, in huge batches. So what I wanted to do was round up all of the ones that were video, and I just exported everything and chose the URL going to MH Medical, but their video server. Exported all of those, changed the 942 C, is it? And the 952.8 and the 952Y to video, and then put them back in the catalog. It didn't work because Koha was supposed to replace the 952 records, and it didn't. So I had two records, one online book, one online video for one batch. For the other batch, it works just fine. And I was using the 999C as the match point.
So you said the other batch worked fine. Does that mean that your item records actually overlaid?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if they had item records or if they didn't by this time, because I had done so many different things.
Yeah, I've never actually successfully had item records overlay.
You know why it didn't? No. I was thinking maybe the, was it 952.9, which I think is the item number, but that didn't work. Anyway, after spending more time than I care to admit, I am just going to, I think, delete all the, run another shelf list, pull out all the records that go to videos, just delete those and get completely fresh records from OCLC.
When it comes to item record, trying to overlay item records is an undiscovered country for me. What I tend to do is use the batch item modification. And then, if I want to do alterations on the bib records, I've had success, grabbing that batch, taking them out, doing the modification, and then bringing them back into Koha, overlaying on the 999 subfield C. But it doesn't mean it's impossible. There's a wealth of knowledge out there. That's something I would encourage if anybody in the group has experience with, or to take it to the cataloging, our cataloging group list, or even the main Koha list.
Yeah, well, if I could figure out what wasn't going on in a way that I could explain it. But and one of the IT questions is, or any tech question, okay, it's not working. How is it not working? And I don't know the difference between the ones that are and the ones that aren't. So I'm just going to pull everything and start over. Fortunately, I have a lot of backup image files I can practice on.
With the item type project that I'm working on, I've discovered the bibliographic record I can change and mark edit and upload, and all is golden. It just does it. It's like it ignores it, even though I tell it not to. Though what I have the problem of is I have a lot of items that don't have barcodes. And so it will duplicate. I now have 2 items with no barcodes when I import it back in, instead of 1 item with no barcode. And so it's like, just ignore items.
Yes, I probably should have mentioned none of these has a barcode because it's purely online.
Oh, this is Liz. I overlay a lot of bib records through OCLC connection, but what we usually do is go off the ISBN or SN number, but we also do the 001 control number to help identify. So I don't know if your records would have that though.
They do, but didn't I think I heard some talk about how you can't actually use that as a match because the 001 doesn't have a subfield.
Okay.
Is that?
I was not the one to set it up. I was just told that that's what we're Bywaters said that was what we could use, but also
Nice.
I'm spoiled. I don't have to deal with as much as you guys do for that.
Well, yes, you have Bywater and Laura and I don't.
Yeah.
I know. Sorry.
I don't remember where I read it now, but they're working on making that a matching point. It may be on the 2205 upgrade, Heather. I'm like, ooh, I want, and then I'm going, no, I don't want yet because it's got bugs. I want someone else to kill all the bugs, and then I want 20. So I'm thinking June,
Yeah, well, and of course, 2211 Rosaline was just. And Heather, is that the one you're referring to, or is it something still upcoming?
2211 Rosalie, and even the 22 release before Rosalie had some really cool cataloging features, and that might be one of them I'm trying to locate. I think there was some authority record matching enhancements coming.
I will say that even though we have that matching point, I still, if I make too many changes on a record to try to bring it in, I will get a dupe occasionally. So it's not just you, Fred.
Yeah,
Okay, I
one thing
probably
I
said
found
enough.
oh, sorry. One thing I found about the OCLC numbers too is if it's been a while, sometimes master OCLC records have been merged through some quality control, and an OCLC number on the record that was not retained will go into the 035, but I've still got that OCLC number in my 001. So that's one reason why I tend to do my bibliographic matching on a 999 subfield C if I'm going to overlay, which is, slow, but and we can't really use ISBN because we're a history library and most of our records don't have them. Yes, Liz asks in the chat, 999 subfield C. A lot of our Koha catalogs are profiled so that the Koha record number is in a 999 subfield C, and that I'm double checking. I'm looking in my catalog because I've only had a couple cups of coffee. Yes, a 999 subfield C will have a record number that you will notice matches the record number in the URL, that stable URL. So that's another place where you can quickly see the Koha assigned record number in a 999 subfield C for a record is just look at the URL for the record while you're looking at it, and that little record number should be the same.
I am literally looking at my default framework right now, and that is turned off.
Ah,
So I don't know who did that, but I'm going to see about getting that turned back on because that would be great.
I've been calling it the bib number. Is that
mhm.
okay? Good.
It's a bib number, sure, because it's at least for mine and apparently your Koha installation, that is the unique primary key for every bibliographic record.
Okay. And the C and D in my instance are always the same. Is there an actual difference?
In my instance, they're exactly the same too. I have let's see if I have the koha-US demo up, and
Mine says that it's C is the bib number and D is the bib item number. But they're both off online. Okay.
Oh.
they're exactly the same in the koha-US demo too. I'll put a link in the chat to the record I'm looking at in the koha-US demo.
Okay, then when I was going into the mark structure and looking at the 952, I think it was 952.9 is the item number.
Let's find out.
And so I'm not sure if bib item and the item.
That's what mine says. It says it's auto-generated, and that one's off too. That's great. Okay, I'm gonna have fun, you guys. This is gonna be great.
All right.
Oh, and to make things more confusing, if you want to delete a whole batch of stuff, just put it in a cart and then do batch delete, which works really well most of the time. But then you can make a list, which is out of bib numbers, put it into the cart, batch delete that, because you can't batch delete from a list as far as I know. But they seem to call each record in the cart or in the list an item, which is kind of confusing.
Does your records have items?
Yes.
So it will delete it cannot delete a record until it has no items.
Unless you are doing batch delete from a cart.
It deletes all the items first, and then it says delete. If you can tell it delete all the items, and also if it has no items after you've deleted the items, delete the record as well. It's a safety, it's a fail safe.
Yes.
You don't want it to delete a record that has an item on it. That'd be bad. As a consortium, that would be bad. Very, very bad.
Well, yes, the batch delete from the cart, unless I have turned on something really screwy, it will delete records even if they have items.
I think it takes the items with it, Fred.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can't just delete all the, well, you can delete the items, but what it means is records. Everybody's giving me the hairy eyeball. I mean, I really think this is true.
No, I think you've just boldly gone where we haven't gone before. And we're curious and frightened.
Very frightened, because if that's true, that's very scary.
Okay, let me
It
minimize.
almost sounds like a bug.
It just sounds like something useful and powerful to me that I want to be sure I've got staff permissions and logins correct, so no
Yes.
one else can do that.
Yes, let me
Yes.
see if I, it's going to take me a moment, but because try to get into a Scratch Monkey, and yeah.
While you're working on that,
Yes.
I'll mention one other thing that I forgot to mention at the top. Tomorrow, December 2nd, is a patch session for bug testing and patching, and the information on it was posted to the koha-US list and the koha list. And if anybody would like the information on that, it's drop in, drop out, watch, participate. People will be there who are helpful. If you have trouble finding that email, send me a message and I'll forward it to you. I put my email in the chat. And I think that patch session starts at 5 a.m. Pacific time in the US, but goes on all the way until noon, I think, my time. Let's see. I've got it. Let me double check that. Yeah, noon Pacific time. And I'm going to try to drop in for the later part of that for sure. So how's it going, Fred?
Okay, let me get back to, I just tried it and yes, it worked. So I'm going to try to share my screen.
Great.
No, that didn't. And I clicked the wrong button. No, I don't want to do that. Okay. Okay, you should be seeing my koha screen with search results for Harrison.
Mhm.
Okay. Let's see, here is an R2. We get 3 sessions, and then you have to buy it. And oh, let's try Harrison's Principles of Internal Medicine, one of our more popular ones. We also have it online. Okay, these are all books with items. The online books don't have barcodes. These do. Okay, so add to cart. I just added 4 items. It says 5 because I deleted something just to make sure it works. Okay. Select all. Batch delete. This for action will delete all selected bibliographic records, subscriptions, holds, items. They're gone. And yes, they had
Wow.
items.
Wow.
And so everyone knows the permission is called records batch delete, DEL. So
Ah,
turn that off if you don't want people to be able to do that.
thank you, Jason.
Yes. I think we're all rushing off to check.
That would be helpful. I had a library that wasn't in our live site. It was kind of like using it. So we were going to remove it so we could import the new one in. They had hundreds of records that were still checked out. So it wouldn't let me delete. And so I'm like, checking all of them in. I could have done this in one step. Though I feel like this wasn't on, like this is a new, like maybe a 2105 or 2111. I feel like this is a new setting permission.
Yeah, I
And
don't
I know we
remember.
can-
Don't remember how I discovered it. I was thinking of the R2, or a lot of those get archived too. So I have to take them out of the catalog. And it's a lot easier just to search by something, add to cart, instead of going into, let's say, 50 records that you decided aren't available anymore. But I assume that you have to be somewhere around a super librarian to do this.
I hope so.
Jason, what do you think?
It's just one little checkbox in the tools permission. So anybody with that checkbox could do it.
It's turned off by default, right?
Yes, I would assume so.
I'm running off to check. We have the patron that I play with is Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, it's just a checkbox.
Is there somewhere in the documentation that tells you what that checkbox does?
Let's see, I've got one of the manuals up.
One of my goals this year is to go through the permissions for our staff and like put them into categories and then do the batch patron. And I'm like, some of these, I need more information of what this little check box does. Is there an easy place to find that? I usually do
This is
a
in-
Google
yeah,
search.
this is in the manual. And the other
Okay.
thing that I will take this opportunity to say is if you find the manual lacking and you figure things out, anybody can contribute to the manual. And it's pretty easy. I've done it. I think one of the simplest ways to do it is to either you can just post to the main Koha email list saying, hey, I'd like something like this added to the manual, and one of the friendly people will either help you do it or do it. You can also put a bug in Bugzilla and mark it as documentation, and that's another way to attract the help of friendly people. And I find contributing to the manual really satisfying. It's like, then you see it and you're like, yay, I did that. And I don't have to track my own documentation because it's out there for everyone.
Hey, Jason, where is that checkbox? I'm trying to find it.
Oh, I can show you. And also I want to show, so Lauren, you mentioned batch deleting things that were checked out. It won't let you do that.
Okay.
Things have to be checked in before you can, but I can show the permission screen.
But
on
they could have a
mine.
hold.
I think, yeah, it does say it deletes any holds. So this is my test patron, and my permissions are funky because I've been
Okay, so
I've been putting little icons and things. But yeah, if you go to more and then set permissions, and then it's under
okay.
tools, and then records batch deletion, and I've got a little lock on mine because I did have an incident where some bad things happened. But if you have super librarian functions, then of course you have all the checkboxes. So make sure you don't have anybody with that one. And then, like I was saying, it won't let you check the box if it's checked out. So I've got this one checked out. You can see. So it won't let me delete that one, but it will let me delete this one. And it does delete existing holds.
How about if it's in a cart?
Yeah, this is from the cart.
Oh, yeah, I see.
So I put those two in the cart, hit batch delete, and then
Okay.
the yellow one is highlighted and blocked out. I can't check it, so I can't delete it.
Okay, so it looks like, yeah, hold and a checkout.
Yeah, and it's just the checkout that's preventing that deletion.
Okay.
How did you block out where you couldn't accidentally click the wrong thing? I can see me doing this.
It's a big mess of jQuery
Okay.
that I'm not done with.
Okay.
But
Oh, how about a topic for a terrific every other Thursday video?
Yes.
maybe.
How not to accidentally delete everything.
And I do have those. I have like preset buttons, and that's in the wiki. I can find the code for that. Share my screen again. That's been the most helpful for me. So like there's that batch permission thing that I don't use, and but I do have these buttons where you can set and copy to other accounts, and that's something that Christopher Brannon wrote. But you basically designate which checkboxes you want it to hit when you click the button, and then it does it all at once. So that's what I'm using right now. The locks are just sort of like a visual thing for some of my librarians that manage permissions.
Those are really cool. And a great illustration of how everything is cataloging related.
Yep.
Well, does anybody else have anything they'd like to bring to the group this month?
I have a question that's cataloging / consortium related. So we have certain journals that like everybody owns and has in their library. And when I use the fields for a journal that like is linked to a preceding and a succeeding, I use the fields, but when you click on it, it just does a title search, and I want to link it to my library's preceding and my like I don't want it to show everybody's. I want it to just show my library.
Okay,
do-
that's really fancy, and that is really, really good to know, because I am going to work on a bug for the linking entry fields. The bugs and the patches have been piecemeal for like this one particular linking entry field, that particular linking entry field. Some libraries want it on the title, some libraries don't. Like, I do not want my linking entry field linking on a title of annual report or ship register in my library. I want it to go on a record number, a particular record number. And you in a consortium not only need a record number, but you want to be sure that the holding library has that record number even.
Mhm.
So that is really good information. This is it's going to be a big, detailed bug, and I'm going to take my time writing it as thoroughly as I can, and I'm going to totally bring it to the group for all y'all's eyes on it. And I want to thoroughly search Bugzilla too, to mention the previous bugs that this has done, because I'm in a selfish position with this. We have a lot of custom XSLT to achieve our linking, and every single time we upgrade, one of the linking entry field things breaks. So this is something that I think would not only be useful for the community, but I think this is really useful for Ferberization, because these are different manifestations. Like you mentioned in serials, it's the same serial. And with Ferberization, those could be clustered. These fields are also going to be used way more often, and are being used way more often with RDA for things like translations or adaptations, rather than using other fields like linking with a 700 and or a 730. They're going to be in these 76X to 78X and R. So I'm going to try to be working on that, and please keep an eye out. And please, if you can jot, if in the meantime, if people can jot down what they want these fields to do, that would be really great, because those are going to be the comments and chiming in on this bug.
All right. Yeah, I have a colleague in Germany that I work with that's wanting to use all the linking fields. And she's like, but I don't know if Koha uses it. And I'm like, well, I've heard people make it work, but they're supported. Didn't realize that was they wrote extra code to make that work.
And there is code in the community version for certain of the fields, but it's been a piecemeal approach. And then I'm also going to ask some real MARC data experts and BibFrame aware data experts like Joy Nelson to perhaps set some eyes on my draft and get this as well written as I can, and get it into Bugzilla so that we can try to get this working.
Sounds wonderful. I don't know if I'm happy or sad that it's a bug.
Well, bug. It's a development. It's a feature. We're gonna make it work better.
But it doesn't work. I can't get it to work. So I can't get it to work. That's the bad news. The good news is we now know what doesn't work, and so we can make it work. I just have to wait.
Yes. And jot down your thoughts on how you want to make it work.
I will definitely be doing that, and I'll share that with my colleague and let her come up. She's in library school right now. So like she's getting all of this stuff. And she's like, I wish Koha would do that. And I'm like, tell somebody. Just wait. It will.
Right. We can make it happen.
Right.
And this is the sort of thing that really needs the community participation, because when I write the bug, I'm an OCLC user. I'm going to write it for the needs of records that have an OCLC number in the 001 and how they've changed over time. And also have OCLC numbers and Library of Congress numbers in the subfield W of the 76X through 78X field. And they might have multiple record numbers, and I want the link on the last one. And so how do we then design Koha with proper, perhaps, fields in the administration to turn on and turn off the right thing for what your record numbers are due, and to turn on or turn off also some scoping for the particular library in a consortium or branch in a library that also holds the title.
Yeah.
Right? Liz put in the chat, that would be so beautiful. Yes, I'm hoping this would be a wonder to behold. And perhaps when this happens, because this will happen, we could hold a special Cat Sig celebration. Everybody dress up and yes, party hats. Maybe Fred will write a celebratory poem. And invite the avenging chicken.
He could host the party.
Yay, we even have official chicken support. It's real now, it's happening. So
Just as an aside, if I may,
yes.
a couple of days ago, one of my colleagues at work got an email advertising saying, touting all the wonderful things their particular service does. It's another ILS thing. And it said, for example, does your software let you set up a separate page for each department? And I said, yeah, of course it does. Koha is infinitely configurable. I just set it up as a different branch. And I said this to just my colleagues, not to the company. And I said, continued, well, and if Koha doesn't do something I really want, I could probably put in an enhancement request and sponsor a new development for far less than it would cost to install your puny little catalog. And it would be available to everybody.
Around the world. Well, does anybody have anything else they'd like to bring to the group?
I filed a couple of bugs recently. So
Great.
there's 32275. So this is using the idea. So the 2205 introduces a way to pre-fill purchase suggestions using an ISBN using the Google Books API. This might be controversial for cataloging, but I think that it could be helpful if, at least in the basic editor, we could use that functionality as well to put in an ISBN and then pull in just some basic data about the item from the Google Books API as sort of a starting point for a scratch record. We were able to do this before with Amazon. We could put in an ISBN and it would spit out a marked record, just bare bones. But that service went away. So this could fill that need. So that was one bug I put in, and this one's consortium me. This one I talked about at the web dev SIG, I think, is highlighting the logged in library on the add edit item screen. And I can show this one because I've faked it with jQuery. So, and I put the jQuery in the bug if anybody's interested. And
That looks really cool.
So share. So on this record, I've got, I'm logged in as Arma, and Arma owns it. If I go to the edit item screen, then it highlights the fact that this is our most copy, so that they're not acting, because more often than not, they're if there's like a bunch of stuff on here, they might click the wrong actions button and edit the wrong thing. So this gives them immediate visual indication that that's theirs.
And you're showing one of my favorite little features for editing items that a lot of people don't discover is you can click in one of those boxes and then get your item link or your edit item link right there.
Right, so they can just see the highlight, click edit. And then while I'm showing my screen, I figured out how to import this is not cataloging related, but it could be. I've been playing with confetti. So I found a confetti library, and you can use emojis and you can tie it to anything. I was really excited about this yesterday, so I thought I would share.
Ooh, please share where that is, because I mean, that's totally cataloging related, because as you know, cataloging can be a solitary pursuit and we really, really need sharing up.
Yeah, and like you could tie it to an event, like when you save a record, confetti. Yeah,
Could this
I'll have
be
to write up.
Read my mind.
Could this be addition to Galadriel?
I don't know. I'll have to ask Lucas. That's what I've been working on.
More productive than what I've been working on.
I have another problem if no one else does. I've run into problems. All I've had time to do this month is find problems. So I'm working through my item type project, and my thought was to use the frameworks because that's easy, basic editor. It auto would populate some of these fields. And I can't remember which item type I was working on, but it has multiple fields with information. And I don't know how to get the framework to do that. I need it to be simple. Like I've even thought about, okay, if I do the batch modification and set that up, but that's not going to help my beginner cataloger who's coming in. I don't want them to have to go somewhere to copy the information because the chances of that happening decrease.
Are you talking about like multiple 007 fields? For example, you have like a micro form serial or?
Yeah, or I think it was the video fields where you have like, I can't put A, B, and C on the same field because they use different too. They come from different source lists. Let me see if I have that.
My first
So
my first reaction is, how useful are these fields to your users?
I don't know. They're just RDA. So I found, well, they seem to be somewhat. So like for video, it shares if it's mono or stereo or analog or melodic or the format. And I'm like, we're an international. If they can put that in, that's helpful. Even if I like, some of them, it's either or, just erase the one that yours isn't. And if they're both there, then I know they didn't do anything.
That information though, isn't it duplicated in your 3XX?
I don't know enough about RDA. It's not.
In its most simple form, that information is going to show up in a 300.
Okay.
And
so
that's
I would be
the iReadable field. I mean, I am all for thorough, full level, machine readable, go there if you can, But if you're talking a real basic cataloger wanting to get it right, I would say the iReadable 300 field is the most important, and then perhaps there could be automated processes to review and make agreement in the record. Oh, Fred says idea for a Koha presentation, basic RDA for the Koha user.
The item type will encompass that. So there's no, to anyone's knowledge, there's no way to duplicate fields. Like I can't have two 344 fields in a record with my framework.
As far as I know, the frame, now please someone correct me if I'm wrong, the framework will allow a field to be repeatable, but I don't know that it will then default to giving you more than one. I don't know that, but that is certainly possible. I would think somehow. I'm going
I-
over to my Koha catalog to see if I can play around with it a little bit.
So like on my default framework, the 344 is repeatable, but I don't think that it'll, like you have to add that field and put something in it before
Right.
it'll show up again a second time. I don't think that you can. I mean, I guess you could set some default values, but it would still only give you one until you add another one.
A very old school hack that I've seen done is rather than giving your basic cataloging staff a blank record or a blank work form, you give them a default record and you tell them that you are always going to open this suppressed default bib record and you're going to copy it and then you're going to edit that one. It again, it has its own dangers of people
Mhm.
forgetting to say,
Copy it.
edit your,
Uh-huh.
you know, but it's a way to have a kind of a work form that then does have multiple fields in it.
Mhm. Could that be a bug to have in Koha to somehow connect that with your framework? Like I'm wanting a template. I'm wanting basically a template that all they do is select the template and it auto puts in the majority, or even it puts minutes to remind me that I'm supposed to look up minutes. That's the one I always forget until after I've hit saved and I'm like, oh man.
I don't see why that couldn't happen. A template could be a thing existing between the framework and the bib record. And that could be something that a library could choose to turn on and to create templates. I don't know why that couldn't happen. You write that bug. And in the meantime, you could create these default naked bib records that 245 subfield A, title proper, subfield B, subtitle, and they just replace that text. 300 subfield A, minutes.
Mhm.
Okay, this is another example of using a wrench to pound nails. When you set up a frame, it's been a long time since I set up frameworks because we don't really need them because I just go from OCLC and mark edit and upload. But you can set it up with all the fields you want to fill in on one screen, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
It'd be a really long screen,
Well, yeah.
but don't recommend it. But yeah.
Okay, so you could have, well, I would do my programmable keypad to automatically fill in all the information. Just go, first record, hit this button, fills in everything. Or there's the macro, I'm sure there's an easier way, but this is what I would do if I had to have it today.
So the macros do it, right? So it's that capability is in the advanced editor.
Okay,
The advanced editor, if I switch in there, I can say this is the macro. It adds all those new fields and I can multiply them as many as my little heart desires. But it's not in the basic yet.
yeah, I was going to say you're using a very scary term there, advanced editor. I mean, I think it's scary.
It's okay. We're there for you. Think of us as your advanced editor support group.
I
So
have so
we'll see.
little brain space left. I'm not sure I can learn advanced editor.
It's fine.
If the advanced editor would auto-populate, I can see people saying, okay, you open it, you
But
go
it
to the
does. It does. If you
editor.
write the macro, and you run the macro, and then you contribute the macro to the Koha wiki for all of us.
Could the macro change back to the standard, very simple editor automatically?
I don't know. I don't know if it will hit
You'd
save.
have to save it.
Yeah, you have to save it, and then you have to then switch editors, but I don't know.
I think the bug I'm wanting to write is the macro can be used in both.
Right? Macros for the
In
basic
both
editor.
in the advanced and the basic. That's what we're needing.
I'm searching Bugzilla right now. Yep. Here's the bug for adding macros to the basic editor.
See, you'll help me come up with the words of what it should be called. You can't find bugs if you don't know the right words. That's what I've discovered.
Gee, that's a cataloging 650 problem.
Yes.
Well, we have a few more minutes. Anybody have anything else? Liz says in the chat, the thing that does exactly what I want it to. Joyous. Yeah.
Okay, put AI capability into Koha. So I just tell it catalog X book and it
I don't want Koha to be that smart.
Okay, so that'll be a system preference. Turn on the cataloging AI or turn off the cataloging AI.
On the other hand, yeah, cataloging a book where there is no OCLC record, no ISBN.
Well, that's Jason's bug with creating the brief record from the Google API. That's a step in that direction, which I mean, save us work and let us spend our human brain power on the hard original cataloging. Thank you. That's more interesting for me anyway.
Yeah, but I have to put in the right NLM subject headings. What I found mostly in Amazon and Google is, don't know how it's pronounced, Bisash?
Oh, BISAC?
Bisash.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Well, before we go, I'm going to say that I'm going to be asking koha-US if I could host an extra cataloging SIG, probably quarterly in the afternoon, so we could get people who can't make it in the morning. It's going to be an experiment. I'm going to be finding a time, and stay tuned for that in 2023. And stay tuned for our great, fantastic omnibus linking entry field bug that I'm going to appreciate all y'all's input on. And if you're celebrating winter holidays, may they be merry, and a happy new year to everyone.
Yes. And try to stay warm.
Yes, if you're in the northern hemisphere, stay warm.
Even in the southern, it was 32 degrees outside this morning. In North Carolina, that's too cold.
It is very cold. Gosh.
It was saying it's December. I can be cold now.
Well, I'm going to, let's see, go ahead here and stop the recording.